how can we help managers change behavior? Before I go into this section, maybe I would give you a little explanation what we mean by behavioral change. If you ask me, I may not want to develop a manager to be smarter, but rather to behave differently. And if I put behavior in the focus, we must understand a simple equation. There are two things having impact on behavior: the antecedents or the triggers and the consequences. I'll give you an example, a simple one. I can see you working in the office late in the afternoon. This is the trigger. I go to you and I'll help you out. This is my behavior. But based on, I will repeat up or stop my behavior whether you say thank you or not. How it is easy that companies make this wrong. They make a lot of trainings on how teams are important, team buildings, pictures on the wall, posters, whatever that you've heard in the morning. That teamwork is the behavior we want. And they distribute the bonuses by the end of the year on an individual level. Do you know what behavioral scientists say? The consequences have 4 times bigger impact on changing behavior. That's what you can experience on your kids. It's rather easy. Or even your dog or whatever pet you have. Consequence management, this is the key to behavioral change. So it's not enough. I mean, I don't say that it's a bad thing, but it's not enough to teach. So each learning activity is mainly on the trigger side. Not all of them, but many of them is on the trigger side. So how we do this? How we insist the managers to change their behavior? Number one thing, what researchers, behavioral scientists say, measure progress. I just read a very beautiful article issued by Stanford University. They tested different dietary things in the United States. And you know what they found? Each dietary program had worked if people did it, but they didn't do it. They didn't do it. That's it. So this is, for example, the number one thing that I must feel the progress. I'm progressing to somewhere. And this is how you can see, I just made a little cut, that you can see there how much of a topic you went through, or even in many, many cases, you have to make it visual. So if you think of designing a learning management system on behavioral change, think of visuals. I mean, it must be in front of the managers that I'm moving towards something. The second thing on behavioral change is absolutely follow-up. Reminders, emails. This is what we send. I don't know if you happen to use any fitness or dietary applications on your cell phone. What you can see, you receive reminders, you receive emails. Maybe sometimes they are too frequently, sometimes they are less frequently. But anyway, timely follow-up is absolutely crucial. It's a good candidate to insist somebody on changing behavior. We do have gamification. We implemented gamification for OD, but not for its own sake, because it's not for playing, but how the rewards, how the badges come to behavioral change. Badges are on the consequence part. If you remember back to the equation I told you before, that I do something and I immediately got a feedback that I achieved something. So that's why gamification is a good candidate, not because it's fun and everybody talks about it, but it's rather think of that, okay, maybe it makes sense. If he made a step forward, maybe I must praise them somehow. And this was one of the ideas that we did. And lastly, sometimes, or many cases, if I ask a manager, I really work with many of them, they always lack of feedback. But how can we make it simple? Normally, companies do 360s, but my view on 360s, although sometimes they are less good design, sometimes better design, but why the hell I'm interested in my manager's feedback and on my peers' feedback? Their feedback on my behavior might be a little bit political, intentional, but what's the most important thing I must have feedbacks from on my leadership, my managerial behavior? It's my subordinates. So this is how we absolutely eliminated the upper parts of this feedback, and we made it really simple about 16 behaviors which the science, the leadership science around the world, from Stephen Covey till Marcus Buckingham, agrees on that those are the most important behaviors or most impactful behaviors the managers must do with the subordinates. And we rate them, for example, how we did it with Audi, we rated them in the first 3 months by the subordinates, and 6 months later. What can you see? The progress. It was really powerful. There was no feedback. Nobody was asked to, like any assessment systems that, you know, that somebody comes to you and try to explain you what's your result. No, there's no explanation. You can see, I was rated on this behavior, and I was rated 6 months later. I can see the difference. I can see whether I made a step forward or whether I didn't.